What is up, guys? The Retro Gamer back here with another video, and I want to kind of start this series uh, to show my progression on the volumetric display I've been working on. And it was about a year ago that I started typing this book, and it's about the fundamentals of the volumetric display. So I type about where I started, and I started with wanting to build an operating system for a computer, 64-bit, try and have people use it, because all I want is for people to use my stuff. And I realized how difficult it was to build a 64-bit operating system or program it, even in assembly. Obviously, assembly is extremely difficult, but I couldn't even find any tutorial or website, or other than OS Dev, which was terrible at how it documents stuff. So I thought, why not try and program for the future of the computer, which would be 3D computers. And so I was looking around a year ago, and I found Holovect. And Holovect was a machine that you could shoot water in the air, or that's what he did, and shine lasers at that water in timed intervals. And I messaged the guy, and I asked him to let me program an operating system for it, because I see potential in this. And he said, go ahead. So I started designing stuff. And I don't know if you can see here. You can see some of the 3D models I tried to make of, with backgrounds and folders and mail. And basically, if you know anything about Holovect, it was a scam. The guy made $70,000 and ran with it. So then I started my, mission to make 3D displays. So, the first 3D display that I actually designed was one exactly like Holovect's. Up here is a laser galvanometer, which is basically just a 90-degree angle piece of metal with two mirrors on it that moves so fast that a laser that hits it, when it shines back at a wall or whatever it's going to hit, you can draw shapes and your eye won't notice it because of the amount of times it's moving around per second. That's frames per second. And then up top here you see a grid, barely. It's 12 by 12. There would fit nozzles, and the nozzles would be the water that would shoot out. And then just some logoing. This is an infrared sensor that you could put your hand in there and be like, swipe right, whatever. A lot of these ideas will seem very unrealistic until I actually start moving along. Then I built this prototype, and this is actually plexiglass. And this was, I was like dead set on something like this. I mean, this had to work. Here was the water chamber, and how was the water going to be shot up was the main question. And how was I going to control 144 different nozzles, because it's a 12 by 12 grid. I actually designed a circuit board using MCP 2317 chips, which I do have actually. I don't know where they are, but I have them. And I basically designed it so that those chips could use up 3 pins on an Arduino and in turn give me 16, and I had a whole bunch of those. But basically, the idea stopped when I bought this thing. And this is an ultrasonic anion atomizer, and my plan was to have 4 of these sit inside that water tank and basically create a lot of fog, whatever, water vapor. And as I would turn on each nozzle, the pressure would shoot up the nozzle, and I could time the laser to hit that, whatever. So obviously, as I started working on this, cost started setting in. Laser galvanometer, $70. A laser is cheap, but nozzles, valves for those nozzles, circuit boards, the risk of dying when using this thing with electricity and water. And basically the negatives overwhelm the positives. And so that was like, okay, I should probably stop doing this. But it was when I put this in the sink and filled with water, and I turned it on, that the probability rose because I played on my phone for probably 30 seconds, and when I looked back down, the sink was empty, and that's an entire sink, which has a lot more room for water than this. And then I was like, okay, this is not going to work. You can't use this computer for 20 seconds, and even then, it probably wouldn't even draw shapes. It's not worth $1,000. Idea is overwhelming. So what I'll talk about next time is my L design, and that's lasers interacting with other lasers. But basically the point of this is, if anyone ever thought of this idea of using water and you're currently maybe even working on that, maybe obviously it wouldn't look like this, but water shooting up, laser hitting it, just stop. It's not worth it. And yeah, so that's what we'll move on to next time. Thanks, guys.